Welcome back to the Dallas Meetup Dime, where we get straight to the value in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, Carson Gibbons, and today I'm joined by the mayor of Richardson, Mr. Amir Omar. Amir, how are you?
I am doing quite well. So good to see you, Carson.
Appreciate you having you in.
Of course. A little bit of a haul coming down here, but it's so well worth it and a beautiful, beautiful view here as well.
We appreciate the time. We know you have a whole day full of civic duties. So I wanted to start with, you're concluding your first year as mayor of Richardson, upcoming. How does one go about becoming mayor? Like, what is the CV or resume that qualifies you for this line of work?
It turns out everyone's resume is very, very different. Mine started with a whole lot of volunteerism. I was actually a city council member from 2009 through 2013, and then had a hiatus, continued to be involved in the city, and finally decided that it was time to serve the city in this particular way, and just incredibly honored to be able to serve as mayor, and it's a great time to be the mayor of the city of Richardson.
Tell me about education, day job, different things leading up to the city council post.
Yeah, so I'm actually an executive of a technology company that's based out of Petaluma, which is in the North Bay area, and have been working for them for about 11 years. So that is my full-time job. This is something that I get an opportunity to do in between things, either early in the morning, since California time, we haven't started working there yet, but also on weekends, evenings, that sort of thing, and of course your occasional lunches and ribbon cuttings. As far as education, I went to school at A&M and got my master's over at the University of Texas, Dallas in Richardson. And so I've got that as a background. But again, mayors come in all shapes and sizes. It just so happens that this particular mayor looks like this.
So 2013 through 2024-ish, we're kind of on hiatus.
Yeah.
What are you doing to keep busy civically during that time period?
Yeah, so I actually ended up becoming a neighborhood president, which in some cases is the reverse order of the way you do these things. A lot of times neighborhood presidents become council members, become mayors. But I had been a council member, became neighborhood president after my service there, and just continued to serve. I've always been big on planting trees and finding other volunteerism opportunities. And so that's really a big part of what I had done over the course of those 12 years, just giving back in whatever way I knew how. And then when the opportunity presented itself and when it looked like it was the right time for Richardson to really kind of move from an inflection point to the next level, in my opinion, that's when I decided it was time to run.
I'd venture a guess that a large percentage of our audience don't realize that you're actually straddling worlds right now, civically and professionally, maintaining your executive status at the technology company. So what does that conversation look like with them whenever you actually get elected?
Yeah, so I'm thrilled that I work for a company that really gets the overall implications of a person who's giving back to their community and what that means for the greater good. And so you have to have an understanding company and you have to have an understanding boss. And I've been thrilled to have that over the years. And this is just kind of the next chapter of what that is. But it doesn't work out for everyone that way. And that's also a part of the journey for a lot of new mayors.
What is the identity of Richardson that you inherited, and how much of that do you want to maintain versus evolve?
Yeah, so Richardson's got this rich history from the telecom background. We've always been known as a technology city. And so whether it's kind of growing up with Texas Instruments and then kind of the transition to having so much of AT&T and Fujitsu and so many other companies along the way. We now have large manufacturers of silicon wafers like Qorvo and others that are also in the Richardson area. So even insurance has become a real big player in Richardson, with State Farm and Geico now announcing thousands more jobs in Richardson. So we have a big part of that history. And my goal really is to see what we can do to grow on the things that we are strongest at. Last piece of that, and it's something I inherited, but also something that I think is a big part of our future, is UT Dallas. They are also on an inflection point. They have 30,000 students now, world-class university that very few people know about, and a brand new president who is really got the energy and the sort of presence that I think can help UTD hit a worldwide stage. And having that happen right there in the middle of your city, there's a huge opportunity there for us.
What are the major updates or developments to be watching outside of UTD? Because I get the sense that UTD Richardson is like a crown jewel of the city in terms of deal flow and education and whatnot.
Yeah, so there's staying on UTD for a moment, there are still a lot of little companies that are being birthed out of UTD, and we are doing our best job of making sure that we are there to make sure that they transition into homes in Richardson and find a way to continue to have that sort of support. And sorry to keep going on about UTD, but they also are building essentially the equivalent of Richardson's arts district right there in the heart of Richardson. I mean, we've got a world-class Museum of Asian Art, 50,000 square feet that is absolutely gorgeous. The Crow Museum partnered at some points with the Dallas Museum of Art. There on campus, we're about to have a brand new performance arts center that will be Winspear-esque, right there in Richardson at UTD's campus. So what they're doing, not only in the business side, not only in the education side, but also on the art side, and what that contributes to our city is just huge. Now, otherwise, we continue to land, I think, really important companies that make a difference for the city of Richardson. I mentioned earlier Geico making an announcement as they were opening a facility where they were putting 1,000 new jobs, making an announcement at that point that they were bringing yet another 1,000 new jobs and another, several thousand square feet of office space being leased up. Landing Fujitsu and Onefinity, their North American brand. That's a huge deal. And so us figuring out how to continue to land the big names while also fostering a small business environment that will make a big difference for the growth of our city, that's how we win, and that's what we're excited about.
How much of your work as a technology executive has lent itself to then going and recruiting large technology companies to come to Richardson?
Yeah, so it doesn't hurt to be able to speak the language of the people that are most likely to be interested in coming to your city. And so if you already know how to talk to folks in the language that they're comfortable with and that they're already attuned with, that's the best way really to be able to make that connection, have credibility right away, track with what they're saying, and be able to kind of find the right off-ramp that says, hey, Richardson ends up being the best place for you. We're not the best place for everyone, but we are going to be the best place for a number of different companies, and we need to make sure that we're winning those companies when we have that opportunity.
What external factors here in 2026 have bearing on Richardson? Like FIFA's actually coming in later today, and we've recently featured them. They're the big talk around town about economic impact and whatnot.
Yeah.
Does that have a bearing on you at all?
It does. I mean, FIFA's going to be obviously a massive opportunity for all of North Texas. But where I've got my eyes is really the trajectory of where North Texas is going. So every estimate right now is that we pass Chicago as the third largest metropolitan area by 2030. That's only 4 years from now. And the projections are that we may add something like another 2 million people to North Texas in that time. So my job as mayor of Richardson is to take a city that is very centrally located, that has a world-class university, that has so much rich history and an amazing workforce, and be able to figure out how we put ourselves in a spot where we are winning more than our fair share of the companies and the investments that want to come to North Texas. And we also have to make decisions with the future in mind, knowing that those few areas where we have undeveloped area and that sort of thing, that we really go for the highest and best use of that land. And the same goes for redevelopment, not redeveloping for redevelopment's sake, but taking something at one level and really moving to another level. And considering all the population, all the energy that continues to come into North Texas, I think we're well poised to be able to take advantage of that.
You have a really scientific breakdown of this, like 2 million people coming into the metro, this many unique companies. What percentage of these can we gather from our ideal customer profile to come move here, live here, work here, play here?
Right. And I think being data-driven is just a part of the way I'm wired. But again, when you're a technology city, when you've been a city about innovation for so long, making data-driven decisions and making data-driven plans is just logical. And so it's a natural part of the way we are and part of our ethos.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. What is the biggest misconception about Richardson, you think?
We like to be a city that has a small town feel, but still kind of the big city sophistication. And so that's always been a part of our thing. So if you only know us as one or the other, that might be the misconception. If you only know us as that small town feel, you might lose out on the fact that we've got a tremendous job sector. If all you know us from is driving to Richardson for work, that's also something that could be the wrong perception because we all do have that small town feel. The thing I'm working on, and the thing I think is sort of fun and exciting, is we're more and more becoming known as a foodie city. And so our focus on making sure that people know that wherever you want to eat in the world, you can do that right there in Richardson. Authentic food from every corner of the earth. That's what we also bring to the table. And so we're a pretty dynamic and exciting city. I mentioned the arts earlier. That's going to be a big part, continue to be a big part of our story. From the Eisman Center to everything that's happening there at UTD, it's all a big deal for us.
We have a really broad, like, cross-generational coalition of laptop class practitioners, politicians, executives. What's your ask to our audience? Like, how could we move the needle? How could we actually tangibly affect what you're looking to do?
Yeah, I think if they've got ideas that they think would be helpful for Richardson, if they're looking to bring something to Richardson that Richardson doesn't have today, I'm a phone call away. I'm super accessible. And that's, I hope, a part of my secret sauce in helping Richardson win, is making sure that accessibility to me, the accessibility to our city management team, that we do everything we can to be in those conversations, to collaborate and figure out if there is a good fit. We're the first to admit there are going to be moments where we're not the best fit, but there are a lot of moments where we can figure out where that collaboration meets and how we can actually make the needle move in a collaborative environment.
I can attest to the accessibility aspect. The mayor actually texts back and forth. I don't know how you straddle both the civic and professional world and get back to folks like me,
Sure.
But we're eternally grateful. Let us know how we can continue to support you in the future, and best of luck moving into year 2.
Carson, you're a big deal, so I have to answer your text. Thank you so much, and thank you to Dallas
sir.
Meetup.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.